Hey guys, it's Tuesday, which means I'm going to do my Sunday night wrap up. So if you don't know me, if you haven't been around my channel or my podcast for a while, my name is Ariel Williford and I'm a youth and children's pastor in Clarksville, Virginia. And every Tuesday I try and do a Sunday night wrap up. We had to stop for the summer because we adopted a baby, but we are back and here we go. So Sunday night, Sunday was crazy. Like just Sunday in general was crazy because Sunday was our church's 200th anniversary. Now most of you your church hasn't been around for 200 years. So for us it was a huge and exciting day. We had t-shirts made. We had lunch afterwards and people in our church got it catered. It wasn't even a covered dish, which was crazy to me. Because hello, we're a Baptist church, no covered dish, but no worries, we had fried chicken. We also had barbecue and it was delicious. But we still had Sunday night youth. I had canceled the week before because we have a 10-year-old that almost died from sepsis. And so last week, my husband and I traveled to go see him because the closest real hospital, like big hospital, is an hour and a half away. And so we would not have been able to come back, regroup in time to do youth group. So this week we didn't have a lot of kids, but I love it when we don't have a lot of kids. And I am trying really hard to make it very small group oriented. And so our church owns a house that is 2 houses away. Like we own our church and then there's a house and then we own the next house and then it's like Main Street. And so they're trying to slowly buy up the houses in between so we can own that property to almost, like if we ever get bigger, to be able to build a space right there off of Main Street so it can be seen from the main road. So we own this house and it's now paid for. It's been a rental property because that way that would help pay the payments of it. What I would like to see is us be able to have small groups there. Right now we meet in our fellowship hall, and if we were to have small groups in the fellowship hall, that would be really hard because you have this huge space and what are you going to do with it? And our whole bottom layer of our building are 2 really big spaces. So we have our fellowship hall, and then you walk down a little hallway, and then you're in our preschool space, and it is their main space that has all of their different centers and stuff like that. So it's not a small part of the building. Our youth room is on the 3rd floor, but as we all know, security purposes, if we're the only people in the building and we're going to be on the 3rd floor, like that's not good. So we have to meet in the fellowship hall. So if we were to meet in the yellow house is what it's referred to. If we were to meet in the yellow house, that would be amazing because then we could have small groups and we could, because there are different rooms and we wouldn't get in trouble because we left the door unlocked, even though we didn't leave the door unlocked. And we took video evidence that we didn't leave the door unlocked, but we get blamed for leaving the door unlocked. I mean, you know, those things would go out the window. My goal would be to have the yellow house and to have a space in it that is nice enough that women's groups would want to meet there, or they could have the deacons meetings there, because everything in our church takes place in the fellowship hall. So my vision would be that at least one of the spaces in the yellow house would be used for those meetings, for those small group meetings. But that we could use it as from like 5:30 to 6:30, we could have middle school. And then 6:30 to 7:30, we could have high school. And that way we could still have small groups and make it smaller. Because some of our middle schoolers, like, I don't want them in there with even some of our 10th graders because just their lifestyle is different. And I don't want that. And we've got some babies coming up that, you know, they don't need to be around those 10th graders. And so anyways, we had a really small group, and I'm really hoping, that was like major rabbit I just chased. I'm really hoping that we're going to be able to create a small group time. We were supposed to join in with some other churches, and they were gonna help supply people, and that just hasn't happened. And so I'm trying really hard to find a new way that we can create this. So what I did for Sunday night is my friend Fred Giles is a pastor in Greenville, South Carolina at the Prevail Church, and I've been watching some of his stuff, his services online, and he did a whole thing called the Insta Gospel. And so the first week was hashtag selfie gospel. It was all about ourself, and so it made me begin to think about how we were created for a purpose. We were created, everyone was created for one purpose, and that is to share the gospel. And by whatever means that is, whether you're a mechanic or you work at a wholesale greenhouse, or you're a teacher, or you're a preacher, whatever you do, you're created for a purpose, and that one purpose is to share the gospel. Other than that, like, God has created you specifically for something that only you can do. Whether that is being a football player, or whether that is being a cheerleader, or being in the band, or, I mean, my husband plays, I don't know, like 8 instruments. I'm not musical at all. I can run a soundboard. That's about it. I can make you sound good, but I can't, like, help you out. And so we went through and we did 1 Peter 2:9, Colossians 1:16, Jeremiah 29:11, 32:19. Okay, listen. I know Jeremiah 29:11 is not about us. I know it's not. But I put it in there because it deals with, like, purpose. Okay, so please know, like, I know that. Okay. Proverbs 16:4, 19:21, Psalm 33:11, Romans 8:28, Ephesians 2:10, Matthew 28:18 through 20. So what I did is, because we had such a small group, I gave everybody a verse, and we had to go around. They had to read it out loud. And then I said, what does that mean? How does that apply to you, if it applies to you at all? How does this verse make you feel? And then I expounded on it, talking about purpose and talking about how the world tells us one thing over here. And in Fred's message, and he called it selfie gospel. In that selfie gospel, the selfie gospel says one thing, but God says this. Fred's points were wrapped up in, number 1, keep trying until it's perfect. The selfie gospel says to keep trying until it's perfect. And the gospel of Jesus says try it once because he's perfect. The selfie gospel says the lighting on me needs to be just right. The gospel of Jesus says it's the light inside of you that matters. The selfie gospel says I need a filter to be attractive. And the gospel of Jesus says that he is the filter that has created you attractive. I used those points from Fred, and I said, think about those verses and think about what I've just read for you from the selfie gospel. And I want you to take this and go. And there were a couple times where I'm like, are you even, like, listening to me? There's only 9 of you in the room. Like, what the heck? But I have 3 that the world revolves around them and they don't care about anybody else. And 2 of them have had trauma in the last year, and so they want it to be fun and they want it to be funny. But I shut it down. And one of them Sunday night just Snapchatted me and was like, Ariel, I need to talk to you. I'm done with the things of this world. Like, I want to change. Please know that same person probably just got expelled today because they sprayed pepper spray in the cafeteria. But Sunday night, he's talking about wanting to change. He wants to be different. And we talked about how he's going to have a relationship with Jesus. and an ongoing relationship with Jesus, not just I said a prayer, I'm good. But an ongoing, everyday relationship with Jesus. And I sent him quiet times, and I've sent him some other things today. I sent him a thing that said make good choices, knowing that he had already sprayed pepper spray in the cafeteria, but he doesn't know that I know that. But honestly, it starts with the heart. One of our adults from our church came in the other night, and one of our kids was sagging their pants, and she said later, I thought it was a really good night, but it really bothered me that one kid was showing his underwear. And I had to explain to her that, we have to start from the heart. We can't start from the outside, because if you start from the outside, you're just whitewashing tombs. So we have to start from the heart. So that's what we did Sunday night. And then we played a scavenger hunt game, but it was just on the person. So it was like, if you have on sunglasses, and they had to bring them to me, and that team would end up winning. And if you have on a necklace, or you have on earrings, or you have on black socks, which a kid took off his black sock and put it in my hand. And then my kid's crying, so I'm gonna have to go. But then we just hung out and had like a good time together, and just built relationships, because that's what it's all about. Because the only way they're going to meet Jesus is through a relationship with him, and a relationship with us. Because for some of them, we're the only godly people in their lives. And so I hope you are building relationships one-on-one, and you're doing that small group ministry, whether you have a group of 9 or a group of 30 or a group of 300, that those kids have a place to go where they meet somebody who has the gospel ready for them. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.